Welcome to part 2 of session 11 of StarFinder, the Fragments of Eternity. We are on the 10th of December 2018. I am Ryan, the GM. Here are the players.
Hello, I am Olka. I play the Lashonta pilot.
Hello, I'm Nico. I'm Zora, the Vest Captain.
Hi there.
Hi there. Hi. Hi.
Hi.
Every intro, I love it.
That's it. Oh yeah, no, I'm Alex. I play Nix 5, the android mechanic thing.
Mechanic thing.
Hi, I am Colin. I play Lyko, who is sort of undead and sort of, what would you call it?
Spooky boy.
Spooky boy.
Space rogue.
Spooky boy.
No. That was the spooky. I'm describing the character role now. It's
I thought that was the role.
Spooky boy.
Spooky boy.
no, spooky's the race.
Your,
Spooky's the role.
your full title is Sir Lyko Quint Doorbane. Okay, next.
Well, hi there. I'm Calum, and I'll be playing Zigg.
Hi there.
Hi there.
Hi there.
Why, hello
For
there.
your listening pleasure.
Hashtag Calum is precious. Smash the like button, subscribe, find other subscribers, make them subscribe, make them find other subscribers. You know how it goes. And hello, Nick.
Pyramid schemes for everyone.
Hi, Nick. Hi, Tom.
Hi,
Hi,
Nick.
Shoris, maybe. And that's
Oh.
it. You can follow me at Calum Blaine on Twitter, twitch.tv/cblaine, youtube.com/something I don't even know. Sorry.
Link in the comments. Also, yeah, just utterly shocked at your sellout nature there. At Viktor Triumph.
I am disgusted at that, frankly.
Paul.
Hi, Matt Mercer.
Oh, hello, Matt.
I don't need you people seeing what I post on Twitter.
Everyone needs to see what I post on Twitter.
Matt Mercer, I was once compared to you, which I took very complimentary, so I feel like the fact that I feel
It's
complimented
there.
by that means you should feel complimented by me feeling complimented by it. And if that's the case, like and subscribe.
So yeah, if you could just tweet all your followers about us, that'd be great.
Or just
Yeah,
join
that'd
in.
be-
Like, I mean, you could,
Yeah?
you could be in. Right? I can write you.
Yeah.
You could be
He
with-
could
Always
be
got respect
Adam.
for Matty.
You could be the Adam. Oh, Zigg missed that. It's fine. It's okay.
I did. I'll get it in the
Yeah, you'll get it in post.
later.
Right. So where were we? We were in the cockpit. We're studying some
yes.
Mystic Jank with Zigg. He was taken aback.
I'm taking it back.
Taken aback, y'all.
3 hops this time.
How many songs have you referenced this
It
session?
happens naturally. Okay.
It has been a lot.
Time after time. So this is when YouTube has a fit when it tries to do its algorithm of what song. Also, I've not forgot about track 2, by the way, Calum. That has to happen. That's awesome.
It is going to happen,
Yeah.
I
Anyway,
think.
well, we'll see. We'll see how much time you've got. You're a busy boy.
Yeah, I am rapidly running out of time. It's hilarious. But yes.
Right. So Zigg stumbles back, kind of like falls onto his rat butt, and then like kind of looks probably a bit like, nobody wanted that type reaction on his face.
Mhm.
Do you say anything, or do you wait for other people to engage with you?
I don't say anything. I'm in a total, my eyes are fixed on Alice.
Okay.
Like, I am hypnotically, eyes glued.
And like, it wasn't a quiet effect. This, like him like staggering back and smacking his rat butt on the floor. So it's maybe like, obviously, maybe the image I've got in my head is Emmelyn's at like the cockpit window, her back to the group. Obviously the computer sensory chair is to the left-hand side of that, probably facing the left because I just like the idea of an awkward shaped cockpit. So the kind of sensors chair is there, facing to the left. And then like you've got Zora leaning against the wall just behind Emmelyn, and then maybe Lyko is like kind of parallel to Nix at the opposite side, and then Zigg was in the middle and kind of stumbles back maybe against the cockpit chair. So yeah, everybody probably noticed this since Nix was probably staring at, thingy, what do you call him, Zigg, while this happened, since he asked him to, or instigated it, I believe.
Care to share your discovery med kit?
I think the Zigg would probably just point at Alice and then
Like a shaky kind of like
Yeah. And who's kind of like nearest within grabbing distance?
Probably Nix, right?
Oh no, I can't do it to Nick. So well.
No.
I know what it was.
Yeah, you know
Yeah.
the score.
Maybe you tried to do it though, and then you remember. Like maybe that's when it brings you to your
Yeah, I
senses
probably
a
just
bit.
grab onto him and like realize nothing's happening because I just don't have the energy
Mm.
to sort of thingy, and I would probably just like climb up Nix's back again.
'Kay.
And just sit there and just go, it's Alice.
I like the idea that it, like, you know, from anyone watching, you've just got the rat going, okay, I don't really want to do this, but I guess I'll magically sense things. Okay, cool. What? Just points at Alice. It's Alice! Is it just... if there was a comedy version, you know?
I think that Nix would stand up and walk towards Alice.
So Zigg, you're being taken towards Alice.
Zigg drops off as soon as he takes a step towards Alice. He just drops off back onto the floor.
And Nix, obviously, like you feel obviously the awkwardness of Zigg moving off of you. It's not really that comfortable, of course. Are you going to keep walking towards Alice, or are you just going to stop and...
I'll keep walking towards Alice.
And I think as well, obviously, when you've got Zigg pointing at Alice, going, "It's Alice!" Alice kind of has, like, you know, she's been doing that idling thing, like, kind of mirroring Lyko at the other side, probably next to Zora, nearest the door. Almost kind of, like, facing into both, like, kind of, like, Nix and Emmelyn's kind of direction, like at a slight diagonal, leaning against the door frame. But doing that totally casual cowboy, arms folded, leaning against the wall, legs kind of one over the other, kind of angle, and kind of like stands up almost slightly shocked, like, why am I being accused, what, type reaction, but hasn't said anything yet, just has done the arms part slightly, stands up on 2 feet, kind of like the face hologram, like looks a bit like, what, confused. So obviously like Nix walks forward, yeah, like you've just seen slightly confused, uncomfortable Alice. Standard Alice, I think it's called.
Yep. Alice, has anything happened? Do you feel okay?
Alice kind of like draws you like a super confused, but kind of almost like incredulous look, like, yeah, a lot has happened, and then kind of like just kind of gestures over her shoulder at the door. Dragons.
Yes. We all experienced that.
She like just slowly nods once at you.
But Zigg is clearly concerned about you.
Kind of like she kind of like leans to try and like lean past, like, as in like to the side, so that if we were seeing it from Zigg's perspective, who sees the back of Nix, you've got like the Alice kind of like leaning to the side and looking, and kind of like smiling and just kind of like shrugging her shoulders a little, as if like that's adorable, you know. Because people have been concerned.
I'll probably
about
take
you,
a
it's
few
nice.
steps back at that, to be honest.
Yeah, because like from your point of view, it's probably really unnerving, but she thinks she's been complimentary because she's obviously been like, "Oh, that's nice. He's concerned about me."
Have you interfered with anything magical?
She kind of like straightens up and looks at you, and then like puts her hand up to her chin. And goes, and obviously like her like holographic projection kind of like goes through her hand, and she's holding onto like the faceplate of her like kind of exosuit, and she's like, "I don't know," and like says very like resignedly. Like that weird humming noise from next one. Interest depleting.
Have you interacted with anything?
She kind of
Where-
points to Nix as you say that. She's staring at you, Zora, like very like attention-like, but then just her hand like almost like shoots from the hip type thing, and just points at Nix as if I've just interacted with him.
It was character for a second. When just before this sort of unfolded with Zigg's magic-y sense, and weren't you you being Nico Zora here just about to ask her what she'd been wanting to say?
Yeah, I'll get to that. I'm just about to get to that. Well, literally, just to get to that. After she said that, I would probably say, so what couldn't you discuss out there that you could discuss in here?
And she kind of just looks at you and goes, "What?"
Said outside that we shouldn't speak about anything out here. We should speak about it in the ship. What went on out there?
She like
Didn't.
raises like a holographic eyebrow. Her ocular ridge raises.
Our ocular ridge raises. Oh my god.
And she's like, And then she kind of looks at her hand, and she like projects, like just again like the kind of almost oscilloscope type thing, and then like she plays, like just this blank line, essentially like this, not a blank line, like just a singular line, and you can see like there's the international and intergalactic symbol for fast forwarding, and she does that, and it does that kind of weird, screeching sound of just like a kind of singular tone being played super fast. And like the little kind of time index zips past, like from thumb to pinky, and she kind of like looks confused at it, and then closes her hand. She goes, "No, I didn't."
I would sigh at this. Alice is difficult. Alice is difficult.
And she kind of like puts her hands on her hips and she's like, "Yes, Alice is difficult." And it's kind of like almost like she's agreeing that it is tough being her.
Right. So, how about one of yous try and see if she knows anything, and I will inspect the ship to see if I can find anything. Because stand about here isn't getting us anywhere. I'd probably sigh and start going towards the door, I guess.
Yeah, like
We'll try and set the ship.
yeah, like so you walk by her, and then she kind of like looks, like does that kind of look at you as if, what was that about? Kind of like, I don't really know what's going on. Look, and then like as you leave, maybe like you just kind of like side eye her and then leave.
Yeah.
I guess like you're a vest predator, your eyes are on your sides. Like I don't know. But yeah, like so, like you head off. What's everybody else doing? Because now there's just this weird, like Zora was taking the lead, charging the conversation, and then Alice went, "What?" And then you went, "This is difficult. Goodbye."
I think I'd suggest taking Alice to Cargo Hold B to run some tests, basically. See if we can figure anything else out about what Zigg felt. And also to get her out of the way.
So did you just say all that out loud, or?
Basically, just go, follow me, Alice. And just leave the cockpit.
And she kind of like as you leave the cockpit, like she kind of like acknowledges you as you walk past, and she like goes to walk through and does that thing where she takes one step through with like her hand on like the frame of the door, and then like she just turns back to like the rest of you that are in the cockpit. Obviously maybe Emmelyn's not paying attention to her because it's an Alice related situation, but like she
That's
kinda,
correct.
yeah, like she kind of like nods affirmatively at Lyko, and then looks to Zigg, smiles, shrugs her shoulders a bit, and then waves goodbye, and then like goes through the door.
As soon as she goes, I think Zigg would like get up and start like, frantically pacing, like just like in a circle,
Why
like shaking his hands, like nah.
why she got you so freaked out, kid?
Like, what ritual are you casting, Red Man?
I think I would scurry over to Lyko, and yeah, do you know what? Yeah. I'd scurry over to Lyko, and just like, I know, yeah. I'm just gonna mind link with him. Why not?
Well then.
Okay.
It's easier. Like, I don't think Zigg would have the words to explain it, and quite frankly, Calum doesn't have the words to explain it.
That seems fair. Right. So
I think he would. I don't think he'd. I think he'd openly just put his hand out, like up towards
have
him.
you ever
as if
mind
I want
linked?
to hold his hand?
Have you ever mind linked with Lyko before? Let's have this
I
conversation.
don't think I would have. Based
Yeah.
purely on like the first like interaction we had when you came back was I don't know how to deal with you, so ruffle head and walk on.
Yeah.
So I'm not 100% convinced I would have.
Cool. Mostly
Before?
because it's a lot of things to do with Lyko that I need to start querying next.
Yeah.
So, you hold out your hand for Lyko. Is it the
Yes.
implication that you want to mind link? But you've not said that yet.
No, it's but it probably, if he's unaware of it, then it probably just looks like I'm
Holding your hand out.
putting my hand out.
Right, cool. That's all I need to know. So yeah, like, what do you do with that Lyko?
I think I could. I mean, assuming I haven't necessarily seen that specific action happening, but I probably know of the ability because obviously there are other members of the crew. Some of them will have done that in the past.
Well, Nyx definitely has.
Yeah, and also, of course, I know Zigg has mystical abilities, right?
Mhm.
This is no surprise to me. But yeah, I agree that this doesn't necessarily seem like something that they would have done previously. And I think Lyko probably pauses just slightly too long. Like you almost think he's not going to acknowledge it.
Maybe in the
Before
shot,
sort
like the camera shot just has like him scurrying over. You had said what got you freaked out. He scurries over, and then kind of like looks to himself very quickly, and then just puts his hand up. And the shot is maybe just of like bit of his arm and the hand out, and then it's like the other half of the screen's waiting for Lyko's hand to come into the shot, and it lingers for that extra second to make it uncomfortable.
Yeah,
And then
I think
he
would
he goes to
long
pull.
enough that
He goes to
Zigg's probably thinking he's going to be rebuffed.
As I said,
But-
like the shot is that his hand just starts to move back as you
Yeah.
reach in and grab it, maybe. Because that's nice and dramatic. So yeah, Lyko takes his hand.
Cool. I mind link with Lyko.
Now,
This is new.
can use both make wisdom saving throws or whatever the equivalent
Yes.
is. Will throws, I think they're like I don't know, whatever the
Do
option
you
is.
want us
The
to write
brain
anything?
save. Brain save.
Oh
Great.
no.
Do it one at a time if you can for me. So they go for it.
Where's saving throws? Saving throws. Will. Boop.
Right.
Also brain safe.
That's fine. That's fine. As
Some
long as
nice
it's
trolls.
it's just grouped
Yeah,
together,
both
so that
sides
we're
are
that's fine. So long as there's like a log for what that would have been, we can work it out. A prompt, if you will. So, what happens is you go, you take like his hand gets like it's almost like a, Zigg's hand goes out as I described. It slightly goes to move away, but just as it inches away that you've grabbed it, with the, and then I think as soon as the contact's made, we get that flash, and then Zigg, you're not holding Lyko's hand. You're holding this, like maybe 8 or 9 foot tall, weird, ethereal kind of figure that looks like they're wearing kind of robes. That when you look into the robes, they're this weird purple nebula of a universe. Just so you know. And you're holding it, and it's staring down at you, and it almost looks confused as to why you're holding its hand. And then we'll wait there. And Lyko, you feel like a psychic pressure pushing on your head, and you have the choice. You gonna let it in or not? Given,
Well, he's went along with this, so he will, yes.
Cool.
He will.
So you get everything that Zigg would likely have told you about the magic, like when he put his hand down and they got that vibe of like white clinical precision. Coming from Alice, you get that. The description I gave to Zigg is what you have in a second.
Cool.
But as you get that, like maybe this is quite overwhelming because again it's one of those, someone's knocking on the door, you open it and all the snow falls in on top of you unexpectedly, because you now realise how good your door is, right?
Yeah.
I know, weird examples, but this is what you sign up for when you let me GM. And,
Yeah.
yeah, weirdly they make sense, I think. Yeah. And right, so Zigg,
Yes.
do you hold on?
I think he'd probably like. I don't think he'd let go, but I think he'd loosen his grip quite substantially.
And I think as you go to like kind of loosen your grip a little, the hand kind of like maneuvers around and grips your wrist, as if it's not ready to let go. Okay.
I think his hand would just be like hanging there, and it's like almost kind of like in that sort of submissive way of like, you've got my arm, I'm not doing anything. Like,
I mean, I don't know that way personally. Obviously, you must from personal experience. But yeah, sure.
No, it's like
just waiting you up. So anyway, moving swiftly past our personal lives, the like the figure, like as like maybe like your hand kind of goes limp as if I'm not offering resistance, basically.
yeah,
it's got
but
like-
I'm not actively grabbing on either.
Yeah.
Is kind of what I was going for. Yeah.
Like it kind of like moves like the hands out the way of like the space between you, as if out to the side, and there's almost this kind of like spacelessness distance between yous. I know there's a good term, and like maybe like you look down as if you're about to like scurry back, but you realise you're kind of just floating, like you're suspended, and then you look around you and like the ship's not there, right? You're in this kind
Right.
of weird like again. It's almost as if you're in like deep space. Maybe it's I think instinctively you start glowing, right? Like
Yeah.
I think just because you look around and
Sure.
you're like maybe like your free hand reaches for your like your throat, and then you start glowing. So you're giving off all this kind of light. What colour is your light?
That's a good question.
Is it like a
My
yellow?
light's kind of like yeah, but it's a really sort of like washed out.
yeah, like a
like
kind of
yellow?
almost radiant yellow, like a kind of like whitish, kind of goldy, yellowish light. I guess.
Yeah, it's like if you looked at the color palette and then you went to yellow and then put it as close to white as you could get without it with it still being yellow, then yeah.
Cool. So you have that kind of first 5 years of being a chain smoker, white walls effect.
Yeah.
And then, so yeah, you start glowing, and then like the figure regards you again, and it looks at you. Again, like there's a kind of like a featureless face staring at you. And again, it only barely resembles like a kind of humanoid shape, and it kind of ends in this kind of weird wraith-like kind of clothing. It's all tattered. It still looks kind of nebulous inside. So we have this like wide-angle shot of like the side of yous, where it's holding like your wrist out to the side. You're glowing like the Human Torch, and it's kind of this weird floating dark nebula of kind of purple lights and blinks and whatnot of stars inside it. And then we snap to you, like getting the feeling that you have conveyed everything you wish to convey to a Lyko, but you get like you're left with the impression that this creature allowed it.
Right. Okay.
But that happens so quickly that the only thing that everybody else sees would be like you and Lyko holding hands for that brief second, and then you pulling back really quickly.
Okay.
Lyko, this is probably a bit overwhelming for you. Obviously, that sudden rush of like, here is everything that he managed to mystically vibe out, but in a split second, right? So yeah, bit of an info dump. What do you do?
I would run into like the nearest sort of kind of vent area and just curl up in a ball.
Yeah, so like maybe out into the hall and into a vent or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So
'Cause I feel like that's where Zigg would probably be most comfortable, is in that sort of like really
like the crawl
like
space,
closed
essentially.
sort
Yeah.
of like crawl spaces. Yeah.
Maybe you go down into the smuggler's hold then. 'Cause that's probably quite cozy
Okay.
down there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I imagine that's not that far away from like the kind of corridors outside the cockpit. So yeah, like you like scamper away, you just hear the clinking of your feet and hands as you probably scamper on all fours all the way off. So, Lyko.
Yeah. I sort of picture his reaction being kind of like blinking, rubbing the bridge of his nose, kind of a sort of
Shaking off the hangover vibe.
yeah, exactly. Actually, that's a
Yep.
pretty good image of it. But he'd be happy enough to have gotten the info he wanted. A little perplexed by the reaction of Zigg, but I think a lot of Zigg's reactions confuse him.
Fair. Yeah, fair.
And say aloud, who's left in the room? Just Emmelyn?
Emmelyn and Zora, right? No, Zora left.
Zora
Sorry, Zora left first.
Oh.
Yeah, I think it's Emmelyn. Yeah.
It's just me watching this unfold.
So after a few seconds, I realised she's still in the room.
Maybe like Emily, have you started smoking yet?
Yeah,
Just as you
that's-
sit back, he looks up and she's already like in a cigarette. Maybe are you holding out the packet to Lyko?
I like that image. Yeah, sure.
Then I will take one. So you're psychic. The hell was that?
Have I ever linked with
Let's talk about it. Zigg, Emmelyn.
Zigg?
Use are
I
the
feel
ship
like-
psychics,
Actually,
right?
no.
Use are the
I've
ship
no idea,
psychics, but would
because-
that bug you? Would that be like, oh yeah, cool, we're the psychics of the team? Or would it be no, you keep your weird psychic to yourself and I'll keep my weird psychic to myself?
I think Emma would be into it. I think she'd wanna like find out how his thing works and like try it out. And I feel like they would have
Yeah.
tested it out before played about with it.
Because I feel like they'd feel completely different as well.
Yeah,
Like,
I get that feeling, because
Um,
hers is like a kind of natural thing, right? Like an actual, like, almost, what's the word I'm looking for, biological, like, development. Whereas
Mhm.
yours is, like, mystic. So,
Magic.
mhm. Plus also, Emmelyn has a daze power that's sparkly, so
yeah,
Zigg does like shinies.
I do like shinies. They remind me of the sun.
Remind me of the sun.
Do you remember how many Ziggs it was that would fit in the sun?
I didn't work. I worked out how much mass of Zigg it would take. So how many weights
Well,
worth?
Yeah. I
Yeah,
nearly had that nerdy, and we were going, wait and mass are the same thing. Never mind, just let it go. Let it go.
yeah. No, it is. Yeah, but like, I told you my brain's not working today. It's all these emails I've been
That
sending.
big
Doesn't matter.
brother. Shut up,
Big
Mokuba.
brother.
Anyway, not to Yu-Gi-Oh! They bridged this up. But yeah, so like, like, what was that then? Let's talk about that very quickly. What was when did you mind link then? Because was it like a let's discover more about ourselves moment? Was it a previous fight or kerfuffle of some kind you just got into? Because obviously that might have been quite a scary thing for Zigg if it was maybe it was one of the first times you mind linked with someone as well. Because keep in mind that would have been, in your kind of your pilgrimage out of the what do you call them, the Solar Disciple kind of school you went to.
Is
Yeah.
this an ability that all Solar Disciples have?
No, so it's like
I think it's a mystic thing.
it's a mystic thing, but
Alright, so all
his mystic thing is kind of being flavored as a Solar Disciple.
Okay, right,
so
right. So is that
It is like
all
his
mystics?
monk thing, yeah. Like all mystics can mind link.
okay? So I assume she'd know that he was a mystic, and
Well, there's like I don't like the idea of there just being like, I don't know, 1 in 6 people are born a mystic type thing. That doesn't
Uh-huh.
exist. People have mystic powers, right? And you could be a mystic shaman. You could call yourself a wizard or warlock or whatever. But you've got mystic powers.
yeah,
Maybe the mystic is a nebulous term people use for what they connect to, like the Force. So he's connected to the mystic, or whatever.
yeah.
We can name
You'd
that. as well.
definitely be aware
We can
of
explore that.
Yeah, like-
magic users.
Oh, of
that
course.
type of person
Yeah, like,
exists.
completely exist.
Yeah.
You probably also have had like unwanted information from Zigg about what he is, right? Because Zigg would probably have went at length explaining anything about the sun.
Enthused about.
Yeah, and like his particular like group of like monks, if you will, or like priests, monks, clerics of some kind. Like it's a specific like order called the Solar Disciples, and they all obviously like worship the sun from like the burning mother, like the cities on the sun,
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, like you definitely know anything Zigg would happily have shared about that, which is probably everything and more.
Everything.
Yeah. So I think Emmelyn would have instantly been very like interested in that and
Mhm.
just try to find out more through experience because psychic's good. Nothing can ever
Yeah,
nothing bad can ever happen
no,
if you're
obviously.
psychically connected.
and like to add to that as well, like for example, like obviously Zora is a Solarian even as a class, but probably wouldn't ever call himself a Solarian necessarily.
Yeah.
But people in this
Yeah, like I wouldn't call myself an envoy.
Yeah, exactly. And the
Yeah.
Solar Disciples, if you will, probably they could have Solarians as well, right? It would be like bread and butter for Solarians to be there, worshipping the sun, learning the martial arts, if you will, of that order. Yeah. So that's what I kind of mean. Like you would also even technomancers might be found there, right? For like the hybrid level of the technology and magic interfacing, the fact that the sun is a huge source of power, that's a life bringer, etc. It's worshipped as a god in a way. So yeah, like definitely, you've got almost carte blanche for that. Do you know what I mean, in terms of narrative? But yeah, so how was that? Was it like a welcomed experience? Was it maybe accidental? Did maybe your latent psychic powers pull out the almost skill in Zigg? That'd be quite interesting.
Yeah, I think the moment she found out that he is somebody who would have those kinds of powers, she would be like, "Hey, do you want to try this?"
Yeah, I think a sort of like educational purposes, like let's see what happens when this happens, or
Yeah.
do this and this.
Yeah, totally. Like I think that makes perfect
Just
sense.
that purely out of curiosity, because Zigg inherently is a curious.
Now,
curious
here's my
being,
second
and-
question: did it go well the first time?
Ooh.
I'm sorry, that's like the third time I've heard undertones here.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I just am amused by it.
That's okay. That's why we're here.
Well, if the first thing, if
And
it
less.
was like if it was for an educational sort of like that's doing a test, he would probably have just downloaded everything he knows about the sun into Emmelyn's brain.
That's
So
how
it
you
depends
attacked
how-
someone last session.
But then, I mean,
Not-
yeah,
not like-
no, but
but in a
let's
friendly
go
way.
with that, right? Like let's go
In a
with that.
friendly
I
way.
think no, like maybe it was actually quite like maybe it took you a couple of days to recover. To be honest, Emmelyn, because obviously you're quite psychically receptive anyway, and
Yeah.
he's poured in the sun to your
Does
brain.
that mean I know everything about the sun?
No, you know everything Zigg thinks Zigg knows about the sun. That is two different things.
Yes.
But
It very much is, but yes.
yeah, and it
I like the image. I have this image of Emmelyn like being like a few years into the future at like a pub quiz, and there's a question about the sun, and she's like, "I got this."
yeah.
Oh, that's cow.
What I
I've
love
got
though is like
this.
the sole
then you
survivor of the
lose.
11th hour, like epilogue, and it's just her there sitting with her universe's best dad mug, and she's there at her pub quiz. She's filling out her like hollow pub sheet, and then like she picks
Is
like
the sun round?
how many Ziggs equal the mass of how many
fit in the
Isoki it would
sun?
be, right? How many Isoki could fit in the Burning Mother? If you're going, that sounds horrible. But yeah, you get what I mean. And then obviously you've got the standard answer of whatever Zigg would have told you about how many Ziggs are the same mass as the sun. Like that's awesome as an epilogue scene. Now
Yeah,
you need to
I love
survive. Otherwise,
Just for
otherwise you have the
that.
Marty McFly just fading away in the public quiz chair. Just
No, do it for the pub quiz.
But yeah,
Oh
Do it for
no!
the pub
so yeah,
quiz.
like I think it's really, I like the idea that maybe it took you quite a few days to recover from this psychic overload, because obviously Zigg is very untrained at that point. This was probably like at least a year ago, maybe.
It had
Um,
probably been like the first time I've like mind linked with someone outside of the confines of
Yeah.
the temple.
Yeah, I think as well, because like you're like kind of mentor and stuff, where they've been like taking it very slow, step by step. This will be a lot, and it'll be painful, and it'll be scary, it'll be new, etc. You'll be feeling
Yeah.
other people's
And he
feelings.
just did it.
And it's just
Really?
like, oh my god, somebody wants to know about the sun. But maybe it was also the fact that you were so receptive psychically that it was almost like you got pulled in as well. Like it wasn't necessarily he
Yeah.
was just pushing all the sun facts into you. It was that you were like, yeah,
I was also pulling.
Yeah.
Pulling it out, yeah.
Okay.
So there's,
Yeah.
yeah.
because your telepathy exists, right? So that's you've made an easy link for the
Yeah.
mind link to just zip across. So you were the broadband equivalent of his dial-up power. There we go. I think that's good. And then maybe you're like, oh god, what did I do? Am I speaking Isoki right now? Am I thinking Isoki right there? So yeah, it would be kind of awesome if you started picking up Isoki down the line because of this as well. That'd be kind of cool.
Wait, hold on. I have because of my last I was gonna say upgrade, but
Mhm.
no, leveling up. I have telepathic Usaki.
Nice. That's
I
Oh,
actually do.
sweet.
as of, but just
you mean
telepathic.
you mean you have always had that, right? Because
No.
of this flashback that we've just decided, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yes,
Okay. I can go with
yes.
that.
Yes.
Because that's obviously you've maybe just mechanically picked it up now to prove that you can do it, but
Yeah.
you had always had it from this new
Yes.
established
Because
timeline.
technically, like, I mechanically picked up Mind Link from level 2,
Yeah,
but
but has had
Yeah.
it as a in training power, right? And this
Yeah.
is why I like that kind of gap of time that we get to play with to do stuff like this. But right, so that's happened. Let's flash back to the kind of cockpit scene between Lyko and Emmelyn. So you're smoking. You've offered the cigarette. Is there any exchange?
So what? Because I think Lyko said something.
Yeah, I had said. Let me think. What was? Oh yeah, it said so you're psychic. What was that sort of thing? I mean, he understands what happened, but he's just sort of segue.
Yeah, it's still like when you look at a bright light and you're still blinking. You know, like that's the psychic effect that Lyko's got. He's like, I'm aware this is probably what this was supposed to feel like, but it's still annoying.
Yeah. What did you see? What did he show you?
I
What
don't
about Alice?
think I really have the vocabulary to talk about magic.
Do you hold your hand out for Emmelyn?
No, I don't. But
I turn to you. Another song for you.
I understand his reaction now. The magic he sensed at the station is the same magic he was sensing off of Alice, and for whatever reason, that magic frightened him. Now, if I had to guess, I'd say it's because the magic he sensed at the station was the same thing that. And he does like a slitting throat gesture.
Yeah.
It
just sounds like you're pulled cape from a reel.
Not to mention, Alice said she didn't say anything. She did. So unless someone else is hiding in that suit, I think something's controlling her.
Could it be S-Gate? If it's the same type of
Yes.
magic.
It certainly seemed that way, but yeah, not really my area of expertise.
Well, if that's the case, we are in a lot more danger just from the dragons.
I think at that point we've got that kind of the slightly kind of camera angle from the door looking into the cockpit and Lyko against the wall. You spun round in your chair and you think, I think we're in a lot more danger than from the dragons. You both do that thing where you kind of just look around the room, and the camera does that thing where it trails all the way back through the ship. So it's doing that kind of one camera shot thing. Who are we going to first between Zora searching around or Nyx and Alice?
I mean, I'll take it if
There we go.
there's
Yep,
no
so
preference.
like we come out of the cockpit, we go down the corridor to the left, head all the way to cargo bay B, and we kind of like go in through the door. And maybe we do that thing where like the thing hits the door, where it's maybe the door's closed, and it does, the camera moves up and over as if it's going like a bird's eye view, and looks in.
Mhm.
So what do we see? Obviously the assembly roof just wobbles a bit.
Yes, dropping equipment in and out periodically.
Just occasionally throwing a knife at the energy wall and then just slowly reabsorbing it.
No, I think I've got Alice probably.
Not threatening at all.
We shall release him when it's time.
The time is now. Fight the
We
dragons,
could
my
feed the
cube.
dragons to the ooze.
I may have already had that thought.
Yeah.
This entire
I'm
time,
done.
Nyx5 has not actually spent any time talking to Alice. He's just been staring at the ooze going, what if the ooze could eat the dragons?
Spits out more dragons.
Well, we've got a new problem.
Right, so we see, have you sat Alice down, did you say?
Yep, I think I've got her sitting on a bench.
Yep, cool.
I've probably taken various computers and tools, and
Like, she hasn't said anything, but she's kind of like staring at you kind of intently, like kind of worried looking, and she's kind of like just staring, and she's been just like absent-mindedly tapping like her index finger on her left hand just against the bench, just almost like she hasn't noticed it, but anyone listening would be like, oh, that ticking isn't a clock, it's her finger, you know.
I don't think Nyx would necessarily
Yeah, that's fine.
care. Not care, but
Yeah,
pay much
there's
mind.
other things on his mind, yeah.
Yes. So I think he'd probably start trying to.
Also, at this point, just so you know, there's been enough time that a 10-minute rest has occurred.
Yes.
So whatever
Oh,
has
yeah.
happened within a 10-minute rest, you just can
Okay.
resolve what that means.
So yeah, I think Nyx would probably be looking to see if he can, if there's like a data jack or something similar on Alice, just plug a computer in, and see if
Remember
we
the
can
suit
run
had
any
like all
diagnostics.
the spine had all the connections down it that opened?
Yeah, I don't know if there'd be a suitable. I assume he's got boxes and boxes of cables.
I mean, yeah.
And then
Like any
fittings.
good mechanic can tick was right. Just that box of
Yep.
tangled cables.
So I'm pulling out various HDMI leads
Mhm.
and whatnot. Looking
Space
for the,
DMI.
Oh.
I swear I had the power suit
Mhm.
cord in here somewhere.
I was
Um,
saying, like, as you start pulling out cable and stuff, you just kind of hear it almost in like a kind of like wavering voice, like the audio is not quite right. She goes, "Am I in trouble?"
Why would you think that?
And she kind of like looks off to like the door, like the car, like not the ramp door at the back, but the like the hatch door at the inner of the ship, and she kind of like just turns back to you. She's like, "I just get that feeling."
Can you describe that feeling?
And she kind of like, you know, when you're on the station, my
Mhm.
station. And she kind of like looks just at the ooze absent-mindedly, and kind of back at you, and she goes, "No, when it started shaking, and you all had that
Yes.
look,
Yes.
that's the feeling. Only here." And then she kind of like gestures to like her like stomach with her hand. This entire time, her left index finger's still tapping as well. She's like, clearly you can see that she's got this nervous tick going, and like her right hand goes over to like her stomach, and she kind of like gestures to her stomach, like, "In here though."
Well, we're certainly not in a good situation. We need to figure out how we ended up here. And we need to figure out what it is that Zigg sensed coming from you.
She's kind of like nodding, and that kind of listening, but kind of also worried. So that kind of "I'm totally still in this conversation" nod. While she's kind of like just looking at like the kind of the floor, and maybe like a pile of stuff from the remnants of your experiment with the CC MRDD. Yeah, I think like maybe we fade out there and we go to Zora, because Zora was away first, right? So where did Zora go as soon as he left the cockpit?
I don't know. Like, I think it would probably be like searching the rune, and no pun intended, but it'd probably be like searching the rune for like any like sort of like residue, like you see like wormholes or something, like because like I feel like it would like go back to like his training. Like I spoke to this a while ago. Like it's like the reason he's got such a fixation on wormholes is because his old sergeant used to use them a lot, like, and it just screwed him, fucked him. It's like wormholes everywhere. But I think he would just be like walking around trying to like. He's in a wormhole situation again. It's a wormhole situation again. Okay.
Not another
he's probably
wormhole
just-
situation.
Going around like I don't know. I guess like maybe like using like mysticism. I think that would probably like be the closest thing to like just try to see if we could like.
Yeah, like maybe we get like
Feel like a
flashes
match
back
instead,
from like
yeah.
Zora's past as well here, where we get like brief flashes of like your commander, right? And it's like,
Yeah.
you know, the one that's maybe the one that enrolled you into like Solarian Academy or whatever the hell the Vesk equivalent of it was, which was Punch Sun or whatever it was called, and I think it translates from Vesk, and like the Order of the Solar Fist or something crazy like that, and yeah, or like I don't know, Obsidian Star is probably what it's actually called, right? Since that seems appropriately edgy, and yeah, like maybe that one, like maybe they had solar armor though. Maybe that was their thing because they did not give a fuck about not being seen. You know,
Yeah.
I said you can edit this as you wish because obviously it's your background. But
Yeah. It's
like,
sounding good so far.
when we get
Sounding
flashes
good
of
so
like
far.
your commander doing that kind of rousing speech of like user in like, you know, the fray, user fighting maybe like, you know, some kind of Kasathan special forces or something, or Kasathis, sorry, special forces user in like the trenches, and then he just like screams in Vesk like the command to move out, and then like the wormholes rip open, you know, and you all pour through, and we get that camera shot where it goes through and the camera blurs a little, and then it focuses and you've got like all the kind of like artillery fire hitting and shells and the Saving Private Ryan beach scene type vibe, you know, like we have that kind of shot, and then we flash back to kind of like you with your hand on the wall absent-mindedly, So like, where do you go to do this? Like,
I'd probably check like the bigger areas first, and work my way to probably like cargo bay into like the smuggler bays and stuff like that. Like seeing if there was just anything that could be hidden somewhere, or like residue smelling stuff.
yeah, like so let's head to the cargo bay then. A or B?
Go A because I know that B would be getting used right now. I'll leave that
Well,
until after.
That's technically not like you've left
That's
first.
true.
Remember?
That's what I first.
This is when we
Go
flash
A
back.
for continuation anyway. Since
Yeah, like, so we'll go A.
already had to be.
So yeah, I think with that then we'll end on the shot of like obviously Nyx and Alice talking, and then maybe like she's got her back against the partition wall between the cargo bays, and the camera just does that thing where it phases through, and we see Zora with his hand on the wall of the cargo bay where he's walked, and then we've got like those flashes of the commanders, like orders being barked, and then the wormholes opening and zipping shut. It's probably quite a badass reaction snippet of Zora's past, to be honest. Zora's this plucky young, brightly blue coloured cadet, learning what the hell it means to be part of the Obsidian Star.
The glory.
I need to write down Obsidian Star before I forget.
That's a good one. I like it.
But yeah, so like with that, yeah, like if you're gonna go for it, then roll mysticism. Just write in, I don't know, like wormholes, and then write mysticism.
Cool. What is my chat disconnected itself? It's fine now.
It's okay, just refresh and we'll go back in.
I think that's clicked. I think it's lagging. No, it did click. Yeah. Boom. 15.
Yeah, and I think obviously as you're trying to like pull in as much of like your kind of like attunement to the universe, right? Like your kind of your photonic, your gravitonic, you're trying to like get that kind of like balance. Maybe we have that thing where the camera angle does that thing where it kind of like warps, around you a little, where it kind of like flex in like the Matrix when Neo breathes, and it does that warping effect, kind of like to get like how you're trying to push out, but you just don't have that. Like that's not something you do. Like you've never been, what's the word I'm looking for here? Like the awareness, the kind of universe never necessarily speaks to you like it says speaks to Zigg. I think it just occasionally screams orders at you.
Do this. Not quite there yet.
Yeah.
Not quite there yet.
So I think like with that, like this is a quiet time for you in the universe. So yeah, like unless you're gonna try and like flare up something of within you or whatever, like there's like you just kind of have your hand against it. And maybe you have that kind of like almost sour memory of like your commander and stuff,
Yeah.
Because obviously
Probably.
you miss your glory days, right? Like even like the idea of just getting into fighting as well. That was, I mean, it's probably a good 40 years ago or something, right, for you? So yeah.
Yeah.
And I think we have that. So like maybe on that as well. I think we could do that thing where like maybe the camera drops through the floor after that as you're kind of like maybe just looking around the cargo bay. Camera then drops down into like the smuggler hold beneath. What is Zigg doing?
I muted myself there.
You literally did just mute yourself. Yeah.
I was like, yeah. Literally, he's just sitting there curled up in a ball, just trying to first of all calm his mind down and just kind of attempt to somewhat like not get over this horrible feeling, but kind of try and understand it. But I think it's probably one of those, when if you have some sort of like you've got the proper fear and you're on the verge of having some sort of like panic attack, you're really focusing on trying not to have a panic attack, and it just makes you panic more.
Yeah, it's like panicking about panicking, right? Like you're layering that effect.
So
I
feel
you've
like
scurried right into the back corner. You can see like the broken parts where the assembly was originally kept in the crate, and you're kind of like maybe scurried in the back corner. There's like a couple of random helmets and knives lying around. There's like a flashlight that's kind of like dimmed out a bit because it's been running all day. so like we've maybe got this kind of weird silhouette of like you sitting with your back up in a corner, but then there's like the kind of shadow of you projected on like the wall to the side of you, because obviously this flashlight's kind of like getting dimmer and dimmer, and it's just been rolling there from the space station, which was like what, like a week ago at this point, or was it 4 days ago? Yeah, 4 days of travel. So you've got that effect where you're kind of just there. Like, are you doing anything, or is it just that kind of almost trying to like get yourself back together, essentially?
Yeah, it's basically all he's trying to do. He's like, that's all his brain is can think of at this moment.
And I think with that as well, like, so we fade out on, or we're starting to, like, the camera does that thing where it pulls away and it goes to like go up back through the like the entrance to the smuggler book. You climb into it, so it goes to like pull up there. And I think we get, for the first time, we get like a different viewpoint on Zigg, so we're viewed side on, seeing him, and then we view him from the far side of the smuggler hold back, and Zigg's crouched up, like maybe his knees up to his chin, just kind of pulled up into himself, and then standing just next to him is this shadowy figure, just looking down, almost quizzically. And then we cut that there, and then we move back to cargo room B. And then the tapping keeps going, and that's the first thing we hear as the kind of camera moves back up through the bulkhead, up from Zigg in the shadow, up into the cargo bay B, and you just hear tick, 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 tick from the finger clanking off the bench. Right, obviously, next you're going through cables. Right, so you find like a connector cable for, obviously, I assume, some form of computer, and the interfaces you remember connecting her up to from the mainframe of the station.
Yep. So I think that I could probably hook her up to my personal computer.
Yeah, sure.
And kind of begin.
So yeah,
entirely.
like obviously you get her, like, you motion her to like stand maybe in the middle of the kind of like cargo bay lab thing that you've got, and obviously she stands there, and you know that she needs to open all the ports down her spine.
Can you open your access ports, Alice?
And she kind of like goes, and that kind of like wavering voice that she's got, and she's like, do I want to?
I mean,
And like she kind of like, she turns and looks over her shoulder, and you can kind of like see the holographic eye like kind of just project, and she like stops, and then she just, like, the suit stops, and then she projects to the side of it, and kind of like is leaning on the shoulder of it, like, so it's the, you know, the fully holographic Alice from the station, and she's kind of projecting from the suit, and she's like, remember we spoke about trust?
yes.
Is this one of those times?
One of those times about what? Whether I trust you.
No. Whether I trust you.
Why would you not trust me?
And she like opens her hand, and like she projects the audio file of what she just said about that feeling of, like, you know, everything that was in the previous scene, about how she feels that, like, that discomfort of panic, etc., like the feeling of when you guys started feeling the station shake, and you all had that look of, oh god, why is this place falling apart? She described how that was in her stomach. Like she kind of like plays that audio file right back to you.
Alice, you remember that when the station was falling apart, we trusted each other and we managed to get through it. It's the same now.
That's what
Just
I'm
so you
saying.
didn't
And she
get
like agrees with you. Like, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, if I feel like everything's falling apart.
Hello?
Oh, hello. I'm still here.
Sorry.
She's like, you know, that's what I'm saying. I agree. Like, I feel like everything's falling apart. And she kind of like nods and like kind of like looks back at the door, the cargo bay door, the cargo like the hatch to the inner door, and she kind of like just kind of slowly nods, and then she's like, I don't know if I don't know, and she just kind of like stops and kind of like, she kind of looks like, she genuinely looks quite sad, and she's looking down at the ground, and then like she's kind of stopped leaning casually on the thing, and like you can see like she starts like kind of hold her hands, as if she's about to start like wringing them, and then she kind of like almost clasped in front of her, and she's like, can I ask you something? It's important to me.
Of course you can.
And then she kind of like looks up, and her eyes kind of go like kind of wide and honest, if you will, and kind of genuine look that you get from her. And then she goes, R, and she flickers out. You have just been impaled to the cargo bay wall.
Ouch.
The big blade of white light, right through your stomach. You don't feel any pain from this blade, but you feel like you should.
Yep.
The camera quickly shifts, and we see that the front of the suit that Alice was in all starts to like unbuckle and open. And out steps a very familiar face to the audience. And
All I'm saying is, who called it?
SK shakes her hair loose, like puts her hands through like her hair, shakes it loose, and then turns round and just stares at you. And she goes, "Step 2." And then we leave it there. So, that's session 11. What would you like to call it?
I'm gonna shoot her in the face.
I actually think I have the name for this one, and I think it should be Unspoken Things. But that's my suggestion. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, that works.
I say the alternative would be Speak Plainly.
Yeah, Speak
Yeah.
Plainly is also a good one. The reason I like
Oh.
I like that actually.
Speak Plainly is good because obviously that was said nicely. The reason I like Unspoken Things is there was a lot of attempts at telepathy. There was the mind link stuff, the flashbacks to the mind link stuff, the memories from Zora as well, like all those little bits. And then the thing obviously Alice couldn't quite finish the sentence. But again, go for it, whatever you want. Unless there's any other suggestions, because there was a lot in that as well.
There was a lot. I'm trying to think like
Who the fuck is Adam?
well, yes, for sure. Who is Adam? I don't know.
Any thoughts, Zora? Any thoughts, Lyko? Besides, called it.
I mean, look, all I'm saying is Lyko confirmed brains the operation.
How about We're in a Cave?
We're in a cave. I don't know why.
We're in a cave. Yeah.
Mystic Shovel.
Mystic Shovel. I'm still thinking it's between Unspoken Things and Speak Plainly, right? It's definitely one
See,
of those two.
I really like Speak Plainly has a really nice like flow to it, just audibly.
We can go with that. Like, I'm okay. Like,
But
Yeah.
it's
I mean, I think it captures all the same feeling.
Yeah, I like it.
yeah, Speak Plainly. That is
Yeah.
ours.
Plainly.
That's
Blaney.
Splinny. Can you
And
splinny
now
this
it's your
situation to us?
Oh dear.
It was
I
going
can't
so
explain it, so I'll just mind link with you. It's fine.
What is interesting though is Mind Link kind of worked, right?
It worked.
What I mean is telepathy didn't.
Yeah.
I think like the big difference is telepathy. You don't need a physical connection with whether or not that's like actually like anything to do with anything. But I feel like things like mind link, because you need to have like it's like, you know, you need to plug a USB into a USB thing for it. It doesn't just magically.
I was going to say not to be too Android about it, but yeah, it's the difference between Wi-Fi and
Ethernet.
Ethernet.
And Ethernet, yeah.
That's how I understand all things.
Yeah. Right. Let me just update a game manager. Now, 10 minutes
gonna
of
take my health
rest,
away.
of course. 10 minutes of rest. Look up what that does for you guys. You don't just get free stuff. I think you need to spend resolve points to heal
Yes.
anything that
The
was
good
lost.
news is that resets my energy shield, so I activate that immediately.
Well, we'll see what happens, won't we? We'll see what
And
you
then
can
I
and
shoot her
can't
in the
do.
face. I
But
shoot her in the
that
face.
in that like kind of hypothetical, that's an awesome shot of you being pinned, her walking around fixing her hair, and then the next we hear like the of like Nyx, and like turn around, the energy shield wraps around them, the kind of Predator style shoulder cannon pops over and just blasts her. And then we just flash cut to
Shove her into the ooze.
like we harsh cut to Wesley smoking over her corpse. Going, nice job. Then you guys just cash out, right?
Well, that was easier.
We start new characters. Right, okay, so that's the title in.
How much will Wesley pay us if we accidentally assembly use her?
I mean, he did give you the prices for the job, right? So I feel like
I don't know whether that comes under dead or not.
proof, right? You can give him proof.
This knife used to be.
This knife was S-Kate. Also, this torch. She was worth 2 items. Okay, so we've got the session title. Right, moments. Olka, do you want to go first? Because I know you're generally the most time pressed at this point.
Yeah, so my favourite thing, well, there were several, but my favourite thing was getting to have a backstory with Zigg.
Yeah.
Having like a little bit of a, hey, we did that thing a while back. And, you know, because that's pretty much the first time we've interacted. Just one-on-one.
Yeah, no, I
Yes.
agree. Like it was really good. Like that's why I like giving the starting point of the kind of like the gap, right? Like the kind of not the gap. That's a terrible term to use in this game, but the
Yes,
the
yes.
2
The
year
other-
space. Yeah.
And yet it all spanned from Lyko. Like all things do.
all the problems you currently face.
No, don't worry, Lyko doesn't have this much of an ego. It's just me.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's wondered that. Anyway, so Nico.
Uh,
In fact, no, sorry, Zora. Zora, no, Emmelyn. Was there any more actually? Sorry, I just decided to move on there.
No, I'm sure, like, whatever like else I like.
Well, if they
people-
leave out, yeah, like you
Okay,
can
so-
fill in. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Nico.
So, yeah.
I enjoyed the idea that Calum had with like mind linking to explain these visions, I suppose you could say.
Honestly, it's
Well,
so
that's
good because you can just say, I say to you what the GM says, but I say it quickly and psychically.
It's so easy. It's one. See, when I found out I could do that, I was like, "Yep,
It's
this
so
is
good.
it. I don't need to RP ever again."
What Ryan said is what the move's called.
I might actually name that in the Roll20.
What he
Also
said.
enjoyed the just the flashbacks. It was good. It was good. It was actually a packed session for technical. It started in combat. I mean, I know I kind of cut that off short, and I apologise again. But
It was the smart thing to do.
No, it was a good move.
I'm not gonna lie,
Think
it's the
about all
smartest
the
move you did.
XP though.
I mean, we technically got through that fight, right, Ryan? So that's like what, 10 guys worth of XP. Right?
I mean, sure, yeah, sure. Hashtag.
So
no.
yeah, I'm like level 15 now. Excellent.
I remember that time we were on the station and we could have fought everybody on it and we didn't.
But we
XP them.
experienced them by walking past them, so. No.
Drat.
Yeah. No, I'd like again, like I love getting to go into people's backstories, especially like kind of almost like thematically appropriate moments where the audience would see those flashbacks as well. Like it's really cool. I love the idea of obviously like the Zigg and I was gonna say Zigg and Zora like it was a breakfast show. The like
Zigg and Zora show.
like just explaining how obviously Olka learning or like Emmelyn learning stuff about Zigg from a Zigg point of view, because the way she would have learned would be how Zigg knows it, and I love that because it's exactly how it's not Zigg telling her it, it's how Zigg experienced it she gets. I love that, and also how Lyko got that as well. I love the fact that obviously with Zora we get to see a bit of where Zora came from the Vesk viewpoint, right? And also like almost a kind of glimpse into Zora's potential future, right, in terms of scope for your character abilities, which is kind of bitching actually. What about you, Alex?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'll repeat the sentiment about everyone kind of linking their backstories together. I think those are always great moments to bond the crew. I liked that we got even the chap about Zigg and Lyko, who wouldn't the explanation for why they wouldn't have done it in the past.
Yeah.
So that's the absence as much as the presence
Yeah,
of interactions is
like-
interesting.
it is because it adds to the narrative, right? Because the idea that they wouldn't have done it is as interesting as why they would have, right? And I'm always a fan of when people go, no, I wouldn't be interested in this exact moment because I don't need to be interested in everything in an RP. I always appreciate that because it gives other people a bit more room to focus on certain areas, and also you go, well, why is that not important to you? That sounds interesting. Explore. It's good.
Yeah, I think that's always quite a difficult thing when there's so many interesting things in the world, is to come up with reasons why your character would just ignore them.
Yeah, because I mean, let's face it. Like even when you look at something like StarFinder, there's so much to like about this system in terms of the lore. I found it really difficult to be like, where do I focus the story? Because, god damn it, there's so much in here that is so interesting. I had that problem with 13th Age as well, though, where it's like there's so much here to work with. What do I show off? But that's some of the fun of the possibility of doing sequels to games, right? It's exploring other sides of it.
I think the other bit I enjoyed was actually kind of from a more like player, how the players were, was the amount of like meta information we had this session, and yet the amount that we didn't let that drive too much of our action. Like even things like when Emmelyn's attempting telepathy, knowing full well.
Yeah.
It was not going to
We
work.
did have
Yeah, no,
Or-
I like that. Like, it's good because it was highlighted. Because obviously, like my brain was like fusing everything together, so I'd even missed that step until it was highlighted as well. Because obviously, I can't catch everything, sadly.
Yeah, or like when Colin obviously explains exactly what's going on with Alice, and I'm then sitting in the cargo hold being like, I think he's right.
But like he probably said that like
Yeah, exactly.
as it happened, right?
Yeah, but because Nick didn't hear that,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to sit there and try and be a friend to Alice, knowing that I'm in the most dangerous situation.
But the thing is, though, right? There's no guarantee that was the case because of
yeah.
how weird Alice is anyway, and I love that
Yeah.
because you're like, knowing Ryan, this is really obvious that this is the outcome, which means it's either totally the outcome or so not the outcome because Alice is weird.
And yet I still have the RP looking through a box of cables
Yeah,
with
but
my
that's
back turned to the potential danger, which is
Yeah.
fun. Yeah, I really enjoy that.
I also like see setting those scenes as well, where
Mhm.
there's a pulse put into the scene with her tapping.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I love that because I've never described that before for her. And like for me, it was like an important thing to add in these ticks because you're now thinking, is that actually Alice genuinely worried, right? Because that is like a nervous tick thing to do, and or is that something SK does?
That's where it's kind of fun because there's bits I enjoy as an audience member, but then I know Nick wouldn't respond to them.
Yeah, which is
And
great
it's-
because this is where you guys are actually pretty damn good at your characters when you don't like metagame. Because obviously I give a lot of extra information from an audience point of view, like all the stuff SK did at the cliffhangery moments, you know.
Yeah.
Which is tough. I know it's tough to not metagame, but I think it kind of adds that. I think if I'm really obvious about stuff you do and don't know in terms of like that, because you know that isn't something you know. I actually think it helps not metagame in a weird way by putting in more metagame situations, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think just kind of as a team we're doing really well on that, which is great to see.
Definitely. What about you, Lyko / Colin?
Well, I didn't even need to say
Strap
it.
in.
No, I did like that. I'll tell you why I liked it. Not just because it really illustrates how brilliant a thinker I am, but also because it was the thing that amused me is because I suggested that because, yeah, as you say, it was either the really obvious solution or just like the one that you were hoping to red herring us with. I don't think Lyko thought it was the most obvious solution because of all the magical aspects of what he'd just been experiencing. I think, if anything, Lyko, had he had to pick, would probably have said, oh, some outside in, because he's no reason to think she'd been the ship. So he would probably have said some outside influence was acting on Alice rather than his first suggestions are more likely. So yeah, I think if anything, if he'd been asked to pick between, he wouldn't have picked, right? But I just love that you got to say it.
Oh, that's great.
The thing I also liked a great deal in that one was, well, what you have just been talking about there, and I know it's a little boring sometimes to go over a scene again
No,
when
carry on.
you've just said, but I like, so you know how you get the cliche of, oh, I can't believe the character would do that, it's so dumb. People are watching a horror movie, say, But the thing is, like, the character doesn't know they're in a horror movie.
Yeah.
And that's the aspect of, like, the scene is, if you step back from a meta perspective, you go, oh, why would you do that? Why? But you only do that if you have a sense that there is a direction to the plot.
Yeah, it's the meta game,
Even
right?
aside from
Yeah.
even aside from any specific knowledge, like, we don't know there's a plot because we're characters in the plot.
Mhm.
So we can't act.
Yeah, there's no fourth wall knowledge, right?
Exactly. Like, well, this is the natural arc of the story. Well, we don't know there's a story.
Mhm.
So
This is
even
the
aside
lights.
from specific knowledge items, like, yeah, characters can't act in the knowledge that they're characters.
Mm.
So yeah, I thought it was really good in that respect, because I can imagine if it were a horror movie, that is the moment people are going, but he's so smart, why would he do that? No.
Mhm.
But when you're in universe, actually it makes a lot of sense to do that, because he has no reason to be suspicious, really.
Well, it's
no
just-
more than anyone else did.
It's even just the same as now when somebody goes, oh, why did that person do that? But then you've never been in that situation. And then when you're in that situation, you go, now I understand why they did that, because I've just read it
totally.
the same way. Yeah.
And so that was a great point. I liked getting to fill out a little bit of backstory as well,
Mhm.
with Zigg and Emmelyn. I particularly liked Zigg's reaction,
Mm.
because it's kind of inscrutable, and I don't think. I mean, the way you described it, I think it's fair to say Lyko has no idea why he was so frightening for Zigg in that
Oh.
moment. He
But
doesn't
then,
know what exactly
what's going
was.
through your head about, you had that option to let in or block, right? You know
Yeah.
that. And you
That's,
might be thinking back to all the developments that Nazma Keklik gave you, like the information the doctor gave you, being like,
He very much would.
so this area of green is miscellaneous.
And if anything, that was probably an influence in his decision to actually go through with
Yeah,
it.
which is awesome. I like that. Like, I wasn't sure if you were going to
Find
block it or if you were going to let it in. I was like, I didn't know.
What I might do at some point in the future, it was if the scene had gone, like, you know, depending on how the conversation had gone, I was actually kind of tempted to try and get him to see if he could block communication from Emmelyn.
Hmm.
Just to see how that would work, because he'd be curious and he'd want to try it out. The way the scene started unfolding, it didn't make sense. It would just have been sort of
But
railroading
like, this
in
is
that
like
direction.
now this is like your first stepping stone in that journey, right? Because now you've got the. I weirdly felt I could push back on that, right?
Yeah, so forewarned is forearmed, Olka. I'm going to do that at some point.
But yeah, like it's the potential development for interaction. That's it, essentially, right? To kind of
Yeah.
staple it down.
It suggests things that you can do in future, and that I'm quite excited to see when it does come up naturally.
Mhm.
Then, like, what will happen?
Imagine
how
all these good stuff happens on the live, like the in-person show, and then we don't record it. That'd be horrible for people. It's like, so guys, yep, all that amazing story development happened in the offline session, so enjoy.
the fuckies.
Oliver fan, please don't worry. Oliver fan, imagine that was his
Oliver.
name. Oliver.
Oliver,
Adam.
Hi,
Nick,
Oliver
you know,
fan.
Please, sir, can I have some more?
Please, Happy, can I have some more? What I'm going to say as well, Colin, is I really enjoy any excuse to explore parts of the greater plot as well as the lesser plot, of which there are many, and see any excuse to open up things like the weird nebula shadow. Like, that was an excellent opportunity. Like, Zigg mind linking with you, being mystically open, you being biologically jank currently, like, all of that is kind of excellent.
I love the visual of the sort of phantom eye. So, like, that was, again, there was quite a lot of horror in this session. Like, if you were looking to direct this, I think you would come at this session as the horror episode, the scary episode.
Much like the intro, I guess, right?
Yeah, like, I think this is actually, but then I suppose when you consider the nature of some of the characters,
Yeah. It's definitely got like thriller tenseness to it, right? Not to quote another song, right, Olka? But yeah. Yeah, like as I really enjoy being able to like share like the weird, as I said, the ethereal shadowy thing. The even just the visual of like Zigg going to pull like, the hand away and then like grabbing him by the wrist and then like holding it out to the side as if this isn't the important bit. The important bit's to like study you to what is this, you know, the curiosity of the scene, and then like Zigg's reaction of being like, oh, I'm in space, because the camera then focuses and Zigg realizes where am I, right? There's no ship anymore, there's no anything, there's just space around me. It goes obviously for like instinctively for the breath, as if I can't breathe, flame on, right? With his mystic ability to survive in space by glowing bright. I love all of that. That's visually, it's so cool to have this purplish, nebula-ish, shadowy creature versus the bright light of like this space mystic, right? I think that's such a fucking awesome visual. Again, if it was a TV show, you'd be like, damn, but what's going on? Zig's reaction to all of it was great.
Yeah, I want that as like a painting.
Yeah, like that'd be a great wallpaper, right?
That's what I want. Like I want that like right here in this blank space of wall I have. That's what I want.
Right, we'll just attach a printer to my brain and we'll fire it at the wall. But yeah, like what about you, Zigg?
Obviously, I loved actually being able to fill out some backstory with some of the crew. You know, it's
much needed,
especially
definitely.
since, you know, missing the whole first arc essentially. I really enjoyed, and I guess it's more of a testament to you, Ryan, is that scene right before the end of the first half. Just when I did my magical space jank, and then you just went through everything that everyone was doing. I just thought that was a really nice scene.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed that. But yeah, other than that, it's basically what everyone else has already brought up. It was just a really good session all in all. And I both love and hate how much Calum knows as opposed to how much Zigg knows. It's really annoying. There's a few times where I had to mute and just, you know, scream a little bit.
I did like all your typed responses.
Yes.
were very much enjoyed to that reveal. That was good. It was good fun. As I said, you guys give me a lot to work with in terms of players. So all the stuff you are like, oh, this is good, I like this. It's mostly you guys that are doing this, right? I mean, it's nice to be appreciated as a GM. It's great to have players that give me such inspiration to write the stuff I'm doing for you guys. I'm kind of excited at the prospect that the Vesk de-escalated the situation. I think that was fantastic, quite frankly. So bravo Zora for not getting your crew killed. You in fact did the most captainly thing possible, and you got everybody out of the immediate threat. Don't know if you're actually still with us right now, or if you're just muted.
Yes.
Yep, good,
Yes,
good. So yeah, congrats to you for
Cool, Matt.
actually being charisma primary. I think that was my mother's name. But yeah. That was good. I really enjoyed that. I wasn't sure how much of the first half of this session we were going to spend on combat. I just know I didn't want it to really go past the first half. But I was very pleased with how that turned out, quite frankly. The role was good enough to justify it. It wasn't like there was anything just, I don't want combat to happen, so we're moving past it. It was definitely had that not went as well, perhaps insult would have been taken more so than when Nyx interrupts. But yeah, like I like the fact we learn that like even in that scene the audience learn that Nyx understands Vesk, right? Like little bits like that we get from characters that obviously from a TV show we talk about mechanically as a game because that's what it is to us, but again, audience perspective is so Nyx can speak Vesk, because he understood that. Even like when we have learned that from the backstory that Olka learns or can speak telepathy Isoki. Telepathic Isoki is what I'm trying to say. I love that from a, that when that comes up now, that's a cool thing to know why for us.
Yeah.
But no, it was good. It was good all round. I don't really have much else to add other than, again, thanks for playing, guys. It was fun. Always enjoy it. I guess like and subscribe everybody that likes us so far, or don't even use that as a qualifier. Just like and subscribe anyway, and then tell us how we can improve if you don't like us. Because at least that way we'll still get the
great
subs
idea.
up.
I am well open to suggestions from other human beings.
Yes.
Remember, subscribe to us rather than PewDiePie. maybe we could be the biggest YouTuber.
Yeah,
Rewind 2019, here we come.
that'd be amazing.
So long as none of us have a heated gaming moment.
Oh, yeah.
God.
It's so good.
I'm kidding. Oh, PewDiePie's popular because he's a scumbag.
I mean, let's not use this to harsh other people. Beyond that,
Well,
thank
But
you.
that's my entire personality.
I know.
What about that Logan Paul guy, though?
Oh god. So
Oh yeah, toilet.
Yep.
Absolute toilet.
so thanks guys for listening. Those at home. Yeah. Anyway, like and subscribe. Hashtag everything. I guess. Yeah.
yeah.
Say goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye,
Bye,
everybody.
everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, Tom.
Donkey.
Bye, Shoris. Bye, Nick. Bye. Anyone
Matt
else who I said I probably would say hello to, I've already forgotten. Bye. Love you all.
Love you.
Mwah.
Okay. So goodbye, guys.